Shalom Chavrim, I'm Steve Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live, and of course we have some very fiery information here to share with you guys today. Let me just make a couple of adjustments here. At any rate there, and let me kind of tilt you guys down just a little bit. There we go. The video I'm going to play for you here is from RT News, and this is an uncensored video of President Vladimir Putin, and it has really raised a firestorm of information going on right now, because as the broadcaster says on here, he had to get really the permission from the producers of RT to actually release this video, and it does seem that President Putin is very genuine in his concern about the nuclear proliferation and what this means for the future of the children on this planet. He's very candid in here. Now, he does mention a little bit about global warming in the beginning. I'm not concerned so much with that issue there, but I think that what he states in here is extremely important and needs to be heard today. This also goes in line with the things that are happening on a global scale. I mean, we have just a report that came out yesterday that the country of Yemen struck a Saudi airport. We have a lot of things have been coming my way that there may be more and more confrontation between Russia and the United States in Syria, and a lot of that being played down. We actually saw a little bit of this where it looked like the Russians and the Israelis may have been going at it, or very close to going at it at one point here in these escalations of violence. Even again, the Israelis have been jamming the anti-aircraft equipment of the Syrian government, and of course another missile gets launched into Syria from Israel. And of course, then the battle doesn't even end there. Then we have the wars that are going on the internet. Going to kind of conclude our broadcast. Adam Green coming under fire as well. No More News. He's the host of No More News, and he's coming under fire in a special from HBO. HBO, where they actually throw his YouTube channel on as a hate speech channel. And the thing is, it's only quoting a former, I believe it was an ADLU member in the video. It's not, Adam is not even speaking in the video, but yet he gets targeted as hate speech, and YouTube is doing exactly that. So let's get involved in this right away here. And what I'm going to play, I want to play this for you guys. I'll read the subtitles. I know they may be a little difficult to see. I'll kind of stop it so it doesn't go too fast, and then that way you guys are able to, actually we don't need a loud volume, so I'll turn the volume down a little bit. He starts off by saying, if we do not keep this fiery serpent under control. That's one reason why I named the video that I do. Now, of course, he's talking about nuclear war, a possibility of nuclear war, but it kind of makes me wonder, does he not maybe perhaps know who the serpent is? Because there is, of course, instigator in all of this, and it is the devil that is instigating these wars on a global scale. I'm not going to go into that at this point here. I think if you read the words of Jesus in Matthew 23, also Matthew, I think it's chapter 12, chapter 14, it ought to give you a little bit better indication of what he's talking about there. Let's play it for you, though. If we let it out of the bottle, God forbid, this could lead to a global catastrophe. All right. Today, everyone is addressing environmental issues. Now, when he's talking about letting it out of the bottle, he is referring to the serpent as a nuclear weapon, and maybe might say to President Putin as well, take it a little deeper than that, President Putin. I really wish you would take it deeper to understand what's really going on, because your own allegiances that you have are going to turn on you one day if you're not careful.
Все
And they are right to do so because there are the threats such as climate change, anthropogenic emissions, and so on. All this is correct. Probably the climate change may have something to do with a tilt in our Earth, etc. So, at any rate, there, let's continue on. And it looks like my battery is not going to last long, so I've got to hurry. Even children are engaged, girls and boys all over the world. But they do not realize these young people, especially teenagers and children, they are not aware of the global threat and serious challenge posed by possible global conflicts. This is something adult men and women should think about. However, I get the impression that these issues have somehow become commonplace and have kind of been shifted to the background. This raises natural concerns.
Now, Putin insists that he's willing to do whatever it takes to renew any and all treaties, including the START Treaty. And then he describes in quite ominous terms what can happen if we continue building more and more nuclear weapons.
If no one is interested in renewing the START 3 treaty, we have already said 100 times that we are ready to do so, but no one is willing to talk about it with us. Please note that there is no formal negotiation process, and everything will expire in 2021. Mind you, there will be no more instruments to limit an arms race, or, for example, deploying weapons in outer space. Do we understand what this means? Ask the experts. It means that each of us, say, is under a nuclear weapon. Okay? Because he's talking about the arms race being up in the outer space. The bombs will now be on satellites ready to be deployed right on top of you. Permanently, he says. But we are doing this and doing it quickly. Will anyone ever think about it, talk about it, or show any concern? No, complete silence. Or take low-yielded nuclear weapons, or nuclear strategic missiles, or non-nuclear strategic missiles. What if a global range strategic missile is launched from a submarine in the middle of the ocean? How do we know if it carries a nuclear charge or not? Do you realize how serious and dangerous this is?
Putin issuing an SOS to the world is...
Think about it. These things are very serious, friends, and it seems like that President Putin is taking this serious, but unfortunately, I'm afraid that not every world leader really seems to care. Instead, it's nothing about wars and more wars, and no ending of war is going on. This right here, Russian news. This young lady here is talking about that there is an actual, this is what we were telling about earlier, that she's quoting from the Sana News there, and Sana News is talking about Israel trying to jam their radar systems on their air defense missile systems, and then Israel takes and launches a weapon inside of the Syrian territory. You know, it's just, there's just never any end to the wars that are going on. The Middle East side, Saudi Arabia says 26 civilians were wounded in a Houthi attack on the kingdom's Abha airport. Houthis claim the missile strike on an international airport in the country's southwest and threatened to target airports across the kingdom. Well, you can count on one thing, that the United States is going to sell more bombs to the Saudis, and they're going to blow up even more of Yemen in response to what just happened here. It says the Saudi-led military coalition said it would make a firm response to a missile attack by the Yemen Houthi forces on a civilian airport in southwest Saudi Arabia on Wednesday, which wounded 26 people. The Western-backed alliance that has been battling the Iran-aligned Houthi movement in Yemen claimed the early morning attack of the Abha airport proved Tehran's support for what it called cross-border terrorism. What about the terrorism that is done to all these poor little children over there in this never-ending war, and no humanitarian aid, or practically none, making it into these poor children? You know, all you got to do is stop your wars. Stop arming everybody. Stop arming the Saudis. Stop arming all those jihadists in the Middle East. Israel could put an end to it overnight if they wanted to. All Israel has to say is that, look, we don't want these wars against our neighbors, and I guarantee you the United States would back off. Well, maybe not. The deep state wants to make money off of killing people. Got to remember that too. Syrian air defenses. Okay, several Israeli missile strikes in Dada, the governorate there. Same news article there as the other Russian news article that I just shared with you. So the U.S. tells Russia it backs Israel's airstrikes in Syria as long as Iran stays, basically, stays in the country. The Trump administration has made it clear to the Kremlin that the U.S. fully supports Israeli airstrikes in Syria, while Iran forces Hezbollah and pro-Iranian militias are still operating in the country, and a senior U.S. official told me. So the problem is it's just not going to end. And by the way, Axios and HBO are the two groups that came up against Adam Green and No More News there. So let's kind of, before we go to Adam, let me get into this one right here. Catherine Wilbarger, acting Assistant Secretary of Defense, she issued this statement here yesterday, and I think it's worthy to listen to because it's very concerning with the possibility, especially after what Putin is talking about, what could happen. Listen to the way she speaks about Russia in this one right here.
Shown themselves not to be reliable partners, that they're in the region for their own interests, and they are not there to develop the sort of long-term strategic partnerships that the United States prides itself on. They are seeking to align themselves with all sides in all regional disputes, which can have a benefit when you want to be a broker of influence, but when it comes to is Russia going to be your friend when the times are really toughest? We assess likely not. I would just highlight in that example what's happening in Idlib right now. I think for the last 6 months or so up until April.
I do want to make this one comment here. We don't really need to play any more of what she's saying here, but the sad thing is Russia intervened in Syria only after the United States, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Turkey. It kept arming the jihadists in this region so heavily and murdering the Syrian people, the Christians in Syria, the Yemenite, not the Yemenite, but the Yazdi community there as well. It's been a tragedy what has been happening there inside of the Syrian country as a result of all this evil. So like I said, though, there is still yet another war that is brewing right now. Adam Green is under that. We have been under the attack as well, but in this case here, Adam Green really gets hammered by the special in HBO and Axios when they say they wanted No More News banned, one of the ones that they want banned from YouTube. They've already cut off his monetary side of his page. And I do suggest if you really appreciate the type of news that people like Adam do on his program, go to his website, www.nomorenews.org, and help support his work that he's doing there. But let's listen into what Adam says is happening.
Graphics hate Adobe. Some Adobe magic here. Hate the graphic, the Mac here. There were 15 million hate videos flagged on YouTube in the last half of 2018. The platform removed less than 1% of them. We need to censor more. That's what this whole segment is about. All right, straight from this statistic, straight from the whole graphic and the cartoon with the punch, the hate in the computer, and who do they go to? Yours truly. Watch this.
Jews want to control the world.
Sarah Jean.
Now, I want to back this up myself because Adam's going to talk about this, but the thing is what happens here. Oh, I don't know if you can really back it up that small there. Okay, let's try it. Yeah, Adam is not even talking. He's only playing a video clip. I think the guy that he's got on here is a former ADLU member there, and that's what's being quoted. Adam didn't say a single word. Here we go again.
Jews want to control the world.
See, Jews want to control the world. So Adam plays a clip of this man, and of course they want to censor him. We'll play on.
Sergent, everyone, Sergent.
The people being brought in are not being brought in to assimilate. They're being brought in to usurp.
But at least I get to go to San Fran and stone the shit out of some gays.
As of June 8, 2019, all of the preceding videos can be found on YouTube in one form or another. Oh my God, get them off of YouTube! Look at this, the clip they show of me on the first one. I don't even talk in the clip. I'm playing a clip. This is so disingenuous and stupid. This is me playing a clip of the CEO or the director, the former director of the ADL, Abe Foxman. He's the one talking, and they're taking his words and saying that no more news is hate. God, is that dishonest.
Jews want to control the world.
Jews want to control the world. And then we got, this guy is in hot water. We got Faith Goldie's channel with Alex Jones. We got Soph, who's been censored heavily as well. And we'll get into the interview here with the CEO in a second, but I just want to show you.
So we want to kind of give you guys a little idea of what's going on. This is the type of censorship that is going on YouTube. This is one reason why we've also set up several other platforms ourselves. And I'll just kind of remind you guys, you know, Danoon Institute, by the way, our channel on YouTube called Danoon Institute, I don't get into any controversial issues there. It is only a teaching platform. But if you want to subscribe there, at least if something were to happen, we can kind of give you a direction of where to go. We are on Patreon as well, Patreon.com/Israeli News Live. And we just opened up an account on BitChute, still kind of playing around with it, haven't quite figured it all out, but we will be uploading more videos there. We've only put 2 there thus far, but we will continue to put videos there on BitChute. And then, of course, Vimeo. It's under my name, Stephen, S-T-E-V-E-N, and Ben-Nun, B-E-N-N-U-N. You could check us out on Vimeo. Now, most of Vimeo videos are what support on Patreon, so some of them are open to the public, some are not. But there again, if something were to happen, we will take and make those platforms more available so that we can get the information out to you. And we are thinking about one other option as well, so you don't have all your eggs in the same basket. We'll talk to you guys about that later. We have not, well, we're just not ready to discuss that other issue. As well as taking the website, though, and we are working in the background now of making our website to where it will actually be able to host you guys coming to listen to the videos there on our website directly without the information of YouTube. I'm Stephen Ben-Nun. You're watching Israeli News Live. Thank you for watching. Erev Tov.